What we're looking at now is a kind of a neat thing. You know that there's this Road to Serfdom in cartoons that came out sometime in the late 1940s, I think. I forget now who put it out. Does anybody remember? Well, there's a cartoon version in a little comic book. In any case, so that was available. So we just put it online. I'll show it to you in a second. And some guy was really intrigued by it and took this and took pieces out of the cartoon and kind of used Photoshop to add this sort of grainy, scary look, and added this very scary music, to it. Well, it's ended now, and made a really dramatic presentation, out of the Road to Serfdom, and sent it to us, and then we were able to put it right online and make it available to everybody. So that's I'll just take you over to the fun page. Here's the Road to Serfdom in cartoons. So that's kind of neat. That's from the original print. You can see actually General Motors. Imagine that. They were against the Road to Serfdom in those days, I guess. And then right underneath it, we just stuck this little Road to Serfdom video, which immediately brings up this video, so you can watch it. I was on this page the other day, and my son, who hears me say the word Mises a lot, and hears himself say the word Batman a lot, was very intrigued to see the words Mises and Batman together, and said, "Dad, what could that possibly mean?" Well, actually, it turns out that there is a Batman. There was an issue of Batman that featured the story of Mises's papers being burned in Vienna, and Batman comes along, and I think he blows up the train or something. There he is. He says, everyone has a right to their own thoughts and actions. Von Mises is no exception, says Batman. So he decides to plot the blowing up of this train that was taking Mises's papers away from his apartment. I mean, it's probably a good thing that didn't happen in real life, because the papers actually ended up in Berlin and then in Moscow. So we have them after all. Batman didn't destroy them. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, what I like to just that I wanted to point to that Road to Serfdom video as an example of how the website really depends on is the collaborative effort of geeks all over the world who contribute great stuff to it and send us their stuff, and we put it up. Chad Parrish, who's running our audio video right now, handles the uploads of all. And the perfecting of all audio and video, and because of his work that we're able to broadcast today to all over the world. So if you couldn't make this conference, you can attend it anywhere with a hookup. And just the other day, we were experimenting with these fun little things. I'll just show it to you. Really, a lot of people think that you're stuck with the desktop that your computer comes with. Okay, so I just put this one on this computer, but we have many others. This is the new stuff. And let's just look at this. So there's Rothbard, set as desktop background, and we'll stretch it. And now you've got a very cool libertarian desktop. So, and you might think, well, that's just ridiculous, and what does that do? But I mean, who cares what your desktop looks like? A lot of people care, and it's very difficult, even for me to fully understand this. But for people under a certain age, what technology you use and how you use it is a mark of who you are. I mean, it's a sign of your personality and your values. I know a young girl of the age of 11 for whom the browser wars between Firefox and Internet Explorer are the key thing in her life. I mean, she just has to know what the latest data is on all the. It's my daughter, actually. But she lives for this, and she makes and breaks friendships over this question. So this is the world we live in. So things like these desktops are everything, and if you don't have them, it means that you're just in the past or something. If you're doing anything worthwhile, you have to have a desktop. So we have lots of wonderful little desktops. I'll spare you them all. The screensaver is the next. By the way, the link here is the fun page, which this page actually became fun after I initially called it the fun page, and it only had one or two things like the Monty Python money song, money, 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 money. You know that? So that was fun, but it was only fun for a couple months. So I sent out a thing on the blog. Our fun page turns out to be actually sort of dull. So if you have any suggestions, so lots of people send in wonderful little ideas to make our fun page more fun. So we got these wonderful desktop backgrounds. We got the comic books and the videos, and the screensaver, which is still has some bugs, but it's pretty great. It's pretty advanced actually because it's a screensaver that pulls live data off the site. It uses so-called web services. Very nice. And then we have these little, what we call here Mises Institute banners with moving parts. These are banners you can put on your website, The Change. Chad made these. There's two separate banners you can put up. Anybody can do that. We have a random quote generator, which generates Mises quotes. This quote that you see right up here, from here to here, this is what it would generate. If you put this little piece of code on your website, you can have a Mises quote every time you refresh. And we have a database of, how many? I don't know, like 9,000 or something different quotations from Mises that are constantly, there. And it's great. By the way, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so then moving on, we have this daily article display. You can put the daily article on your website or your blog or whatever. Just take that code and put it out right up there. And you'll be surfing the web and run across this all the time. There's the daily article. It's fed through RSS. And then a ticker display that has a little ticker. Ticker's very old tech, so that's uninteresting. But if you're just living in the Stone Age and want a ticker, then that's fine. You can get a ticker there, and on we go all the way down to the Monty Python money song. If you want to listen to the money song, if you're no longer bored with that. Okay, there was something I said that I wanted to go back to really quickly. What was that? Oh yeah. Continuing with the Gizmo report, the newest stuff. That's what we care about. Always the newest thing. So you see up here in the top right-hand corner this Mises quotation right here. Estate taxes of the height they have already attained for the upper brackets are no longer qualified as taxes. They are measures of expropriation from planning for freedom. I can refresh that, and it will generate another one. Grumblers may blame Western civilizations for its materialism and may assert that it gratified nobody but a small class of rugged exploiters, but their laments cannot wipe out the fact. Millions of mothers have been made happier by the drop in infant mortality. Famines have disappeared and epidemics have been curbed. These are wonderful things. Sometimes if a person only reads that, it may be their first introduction, their introduction to the first sensible thing they've ever heard. Who knows? And they think, well, what could that possibly mean? So you click on that, and it takes you to this amazing little thing. That quote, the subject was capitalism, and so it lists them by subject here. So you get to read all these wonderful quotations by Mises on capitalism, all generated by a database. Or you can look at different kinds of subjects and go through anything, what Mises said on any of these subjects. Conscription. Lots of people think that Mises was that he had mixed views on conscription. Well, here's a number of things where he associates conscription with socialism. But anyway, you can look up any subject. This turns out to be very useful for scholars. But what I find most interesting about these Mises quotations, I subscribe to these Google News alerts where the Google News goes through everything printed and tries to find the word Ludwig von Mises, and then if it does find it, it sends you an email. Oh gosh, how well I remember when 20 years ago, when we were curious about where our articles appeared. You had to subscribe to what was it? Burrells? Was that the name of the clipping service, Lou, that we used? Burrells, yeah. and which was just this warehouse of people who took newspapers and they said it with scissors. This is true. And they'd read newspapers trying to find the word Mises, and if you subscribe to them, they'd send you a little clipping in the mail, and you paid unbelievable amounts of money for the service. There's a clipping service. Well, Google News has, I guess, I don't know if the clipping services even exist. Maybe they do. But in any case, so I get a little email for any time the word Mises appears in print. So ever since this crazy quotation machine, it's totally brilliant. Ever since it went up, I see Mises quotes everywhere. I mean, they're coming in constantly, like op-ed writers for papers all over the country, editorial pages from the smallest to largest newspapers on every topic you can imagine. They say, well, as Mises himself pointed out, and they have something. And you think, wow, this guy is really literate. Well, it's the quote machine that's doing this. It's amazing, So you can look up what Mises says on any subject. As Mises said about Gandhi, right? That's been a great benefit. Let me just show you the network. Whoa. Okay, the network. The Austrian network. So we get emails all the time, people asking us to link them or somehow be involved with this. And it's not always easy to give an answer to that. What we precisely do. We decided to come up with this Austrian network. This has unlimited capacity for putting people who want to be associated with something, mostly students. You can see it's not a student link, but anybody can sign it. You just add your name, and I'm going to make David Mindock here famous. Huh? Let's see what he did. Well, he says he's an engineer in Washington, D.C., and he's interested in economics and optical physics. He didn't fill this out very completely, but you can put your blog URL, you can put a photo of yourself, favorite thinkers, favorite books, everything. So it gives you a little web page that you can use for yourself. And it's really nice. We've got 30 people per page and 15 pages, so you can do the math. And it hasn't been up that long. So it's growing, the network. Oh, what's neat about it is it allows you to email these people. There's a gentleman who works at the State Bank of Pakistan. You want to send him an email? There he is. Isn't that great? And look, you can't see his email address. It turns out to be very important because if your email address is published online, you get a lot of spam. It annoys people, So here's a system that you can email people without ever seeing their email address, and it goes right to his email box. That's it. So all Austrians from all over the world can contact each other. But if you don't want to be annoyed by some pest or something, then you won't be, and you can answer it or not. So anyway, it allows people to stay in touch with each other. I have to say something about this. I still don't entirely understand this. This is made for us by David Wexler. You know how you go in and re-edit your name? There's no username or password. You don't have to register for it. Registrations are just annoying. I mean, they just are. And you think, well, I've gotten used to registering a million things, juggling passwords, but nobody really wants to do that. Well, what this allows is all you have to do is put in your email address. You can re-edit your entry just by entering your email address. There's no password. And nobody knows your email address, so they can't edit your entry. And that's it. I mean, you can't know it from this program. So that's how you manage it. And it's absolutely secure, and there's no juggling of passwords. It's an ingenious thing, and it's just in its infancy. I think it's really going to grow. Well, you see, it's the latest registrations there. So a lot of the neatest things are over here under students. Let me just take you over here. This is our newest thing. This is the Mises Classroom, and this all began really this summer. Bob Murphy, where is he? Is he here? Oh, there, Bob. Yeah, Bob. So here's what Bob did. We were thinking, what we really need is some organized way for people to study Austrian economics at home. We've had a demand for this for a number of years, and my thought was always, well, there's all the materials there. If anybody wants to study Austrian economics, you can go online. I mean, we have about 10,000 entries in our study guide. You can go through and click by subject. We've got 500 hours of media files. What do you want? But of course, it turns out what people want is organization. and a clear program that starts from the beginning and takes you through things very carefully. Well, after working here 20 years, it never occurred to me that this is the case. It did occur to Bob. So Bob put together a very nice home study course in Austrian economics that is 52 lessons, and it's an audio lecture tied to a reading, tied to question and answers, a study guide, a sort of question and answer study guide. So it's just great, and it takes you from the beginning and goes through every subject. Some of the things we didn't have lectures on, like I think what was the subject we decided to cover? You said, people are emailing me all the time about consumer protection. How do I keep capitalists from poisoning me with food or whatever, right? So we all know that capitalists want to poison their customers. But we needed a lecture addressing this, and we had no lecture addressing this topic. So Bob and I sat down, did an hour-long interview. It was great. It was fun, and talk to Bob. He says brilliant things, just constantly. Ask him a question, he says something amazing. That's the way he is. So we put him on tape, and that's one of the lectures. Was one of the 50 lectures. Packaged it up and into a wonderful package that has all the readings and a study guide and everything that's associated with it. And we sell it now through the store, but also for the first time too, we have a online classroom, which is the future. This little machine right here. This is where you can go, you can enroll and experience a real-time classroom environment. And there's ways in which this is better than a regular classroom. And here's why. Because you can benefit not only from the interactions of the student with the professor that are going on right then, but also the archive of last month's discussions and 6 months ago's discussions. And so everybody can assist each other in this way. So if you've had a wonderful exchange with the professor on a particular topic, future students will benefit from that very exchange. You don't have to have that same thing over again. And it's a wonderful learning environment. One of the reasons we hadn't done this up to now is we couldn't really we couldn't think through how to make it really what we wanted it to be. And finally, as a result of all of our thought and work this summer, we've gone live with this. It's just the beginning. We've got one course now, and it's the full home study course. So you can get the package in the store and go through it on your own, or you can get online tutoring with it. Either way, or both. But that's just the first. That's the first of many things to come in this classroom. There's really an unlimited potential here. We can teach the world economics in a real-time classroom environment now. And this wasn't even true 6 months ago. So you see why I wanted to just tell you about the new stuff. We don't have time for all the old stuff. Okay. Adam, right. These Escreans. Okay. Does everybody know what podcasting is? Does anybody know what podcasting is? I'll just tell you. Podcasting, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So the format that's the preferred format for delivering audio online is MP3, and podcasting does this automatically. If you have a program on your computer, iTunes is one, or if you use a iPod, a little MP3 player, that's another way you can sync it up with your computer. What we do is we send out these audio files, and they're delivered through a technology called RSS, or really simple syndication, automatically. So you subscribe to this podcast, and you get the audio file automatically. You wake up in the morning, and your iPod is filled with Mises Institute lectures. You take the train to work. You listen to all these lectures on the way there. And sometimes there have been days when we've sent out 30 podcasts, and there'll be a few days that go by when we haven't sent out any. But you can subscribe to this podcast. There's no charge at all. And I thought, well, this podcast will be a great thing for the for the 7 people under the age of 15 who care about this junk, right? But it turns. Last I checked, we had 15,000 subscribers to the podcast. So everything we send, this goes to 15,000 different audio thing, and it's growing just exponentially all the time. What is this strange-looking site here? My daughter, when she looked at this, she said, "Dad, your site's been hacked." And in a sense, she was right. I mean, these are 2 graduate students. Adam's over here, and the 2 graduates and Dan D'Amico. I guess Dan's not at the conference. But what they're doing is they're in graduate school, and they're doing weekly shows about their classes and their experiences in graduate school, and an ongoing chronicle of the life of a graduate student in economics. All right. You think it doesn't have mass appeal? It does. It really does. And they talk about every kind of idea you can think of, and it's really fascinating. They don't try to make it into some sort of it's not super organized. It's spontaneous, and it's very interesting. It's like reality graduate school or something. It's very interesting. And so these go out every week, every Monday. You get another podcast of this, and they call themselves the Misescreants. It's really fun, and there's an archive of all their shows are right here. The current episodes all the way back to the beginning. I don't know. How about some basic data before we? Let me just say the Mises Institute is a very large site. It's very fast, and for that we can thank a particular technology called .NET. I have my wonderful web developer, David Vexler, is very funny. I used to think that you should never use beta technology. And beta means that it's still got a few bugs. He uses alpha technology. So we're always on the bleeding edge, and always got the newest thing, and it keeps us very much on our toes. But as a result of his efforts, the site is very large, but very fast. I already mentioned that we have something like 400 hours, maybe it's more by now, of media files. 10,000 items in the study guide. Last I checked, it looked like we had 35 or 40, maybe 50 databases on the site, as it is now. It's remarkable. 18 gigs of hard drive space. I'm just reading off the data that I checked. Average monthly outgoing bandwidth, 400 gigs. Our server company that we used didn't believe me when we negotiated a price for that much. And let me just say too, there's a popular understanding that when people use your website, that's good for you, and there's a sense in which that's true, but it's also costly for you after a certain point. I can promise you it's very, very costly for us to deliver that level of bandwidth. I mean, people drawing down as many files and PDFs and movie files and everything from the site, it's very costly. We have to pay for every bit of that, but it's what we do. It's why we're the Mises Institute. It's why we exist. So that's why we do it. 400 gigs. Outgoing bandwidth per month. Average monthly hits, 15 million. Average monthly pages served, 1.5 million. Average monthly visitors, 400,000. Unique visitors, 172,000. Podcast subscribers, 15,000. I mentioned daily subscribers to the daily article, 15,000. We also have many other lists that you can get onto, like a store list, a news list, and many other lists. And I know I've forgotten a ton of things. Let me just quickly say something about our publications page. There isn't one person who manages the site. Judy Thomas is head of the publications here, keeps all the files for the Quarterly Journal of Austrian Economics up to date. We have complete archives there at just a click. You can see these are all wonderful, very fast-moving PDF files. And she keeps the JLS completely up to date. We graciously host Reason papers here. We have complete archives of Austrian economics newsletter, Left and Right. Left and Right is a journal that Murray Rothbard edited in the 1960s. And, I didn't have that many subscribers at the time. And then after it went defunct in 1968, I'm sure he just thought that was the end of it. Well, here it is. 2005, it's online, complete for everybody. Libertarian Forum, which everybody was desperate to get for the longest time. You couldn't get copies of it anywhere. And look at that. It's all completely there. Dan, who works with me on the site, is very proud that this is one of the few pages on the whole site that is W3 compliant. It's got not a single font tag, he says. Okay, that's really great. And then our media server. And there's so many areas. I don't even want to get into it. I can't possibly get into it. We also serve up LouRockwell.com content from our RSS page entirely devoted to Lou's site, which is a great source of traffic for Mises.org. And you can go through it anyway. Frequently asked questions, every kind of thing. I've only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to stop. And I know you have many questions. So go ahead, please. Anything occur to you? Do you have any problems using the site you want to raise? Okay, go ahead.
One problem I've noticed is that when you use the search function on a page that isn't the main page,
yeah, it's because these little pull-down menus here are not JavaScript. Those are run with cascading style sheets, so they can change all the time. But it requires that we be very economical in the use of graphics. And so the top thing is just one graphic, and the rest is entirely controlled by CSS. And there's some bugs to work out in that search engine yet. That if you add a bar like that, then it works. See? But you see what just happened? It didn't work without the bar, and it does work with the bar. So that's just the trade-off is that there's a few bugs in the search engine, not in the engine, but in the display. But that's in exchange for which we get these super fast pull-down menus. For years, people were asking us to put up a sitemap. A sitemap, you know. I mean, that would take me like, I don't know, 6 months just to do the map, and then it would change again. I mean, what do you? Well, it turns out our problem is solved with these little pull-down menus, which, as I say, are entirely governed by cascading style sheets. I know that doesn't mean that much to many of you, but let's just say it's very impressive. Okay. Oh, hey, let me just say a few words about this. I can't believe I hadn't mentioned this thing. This is the glorious, wonderful Mises store, which is just the thing to go to right now. Our customer base is increasing dramatically. Our sales are going way up. What this means for us is just that more people are getting our material and are excited about what we're doing. It's really totally thrilling to be working in this kind of environment where people are just coming in and buying books. We can't even keep books. We can't keep books in stock anymore. I was just talking to, and everything sells. Everything sells. It's just great. People love Austrian economics. People love what we do. It's a great thing to be a part of an institution that, generates this level of excitement. It's exciting for us. It's exciting for the customers. So we do neat things these days, like, you can see that everything changes every time you refresh it. You've got the and so you can go to what's new. We've got the ability to have a wish list here, and you can go to your account and look at all your past stuff. And look at this. I said this is the Geek Report. We're going to get only new stuff. This is the new stuff. This came about 2 weeks ago. Look at that. So it's a gift certificate, and you can buy a gift certificate for anyone at any price. It generates a beautiful little code and a pretty thing you can print out. And this code is not attached to any particular individual. You can give it to anybody you want. Anybody who has the code can use it up to the amount that you pay. And so if you have a bout of selfishness and you decide you don't want to give away this gift certificate, you can use it yourself. not that the Mises Institute would ever promote, greed or selfishness. No. But that's what's available. This wasn't there 3 weeks ago, so there's a great deal of excitement about that. And of course, I can't shut up about the wonderful memorabilia we're offering nowadays. We have great T-shirts. We can't keep them in stock. They're selling like crazy. People love the T-shirts. They love the T-shirts. There's the Rothbard T-shirt. You've seen it outside. Lapel pins, cups, power bands, and I have to laugh about these things because, I mean, when the idea first came up that we would have power bands, of course they can't be called power bands. We had to call them Liberty bands, right? We're against power, we're for liberty, so not power bands. And people said, well, look, those are only for kids, and yeah, it's true. Well, we got them printed, and they come, and you think, well, I paid $3 for that ridiculous chintzy little nothing. You know what? What's that? But then you put it on, you think, hey, that's kind of cool. And you always get to read Teenage Trading Mollies. The writing doesn't rub off. You swim with it. You go to the beach in it. Everything is still there. And it inspires you constantly. And then you can't take it off, and you totally adore it. I mean, if somebody came up to me the night, cut it, and stole it, I would just panic and pay another $3 for another one. I mean, I'm telling you, these things are great. So it's $3 well spent. Some license plate, frames, everything. We've got 4 new shirts coming in next week. We've got a Hazlitt shirt, a Hayek shirt, a Bumbavik shirt. That's going to be a smash hit, I know. Everybody wants a picture of Eugen von Bumbavik on a T-shirt, and then a Menger shirt. The Hazlitt shirt in particular is fun because it's got Hazlitt in this very sort of nice style that we're developing here. And underneath it says one lesson, very obscurely, one lesson. And then on the back, it's got the famous Hazlitt quotation about what economics consist in. Looking at the effects of policies on all groups, not just small groups, and the effects not just in the short run, but the long run. And that's it. That's the one lesson, and so that's on the back of the T-shirt. So it's neat. So that gives us 6. And I'm out of time. I'm so sorry. Thank you for listening.